We all have that friend who wakes up early to go get everyone McDonald's breakfast, while the rest of us sleep in. This is your sign to thank them. And if you're that friend, this is us saying thank you.
Now get a sausage McMuffin, sausage biscuit, sausage burrito, or hash browns. Choose 2 for $2.50. Enjoy a large iced coffee for just $2. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
From the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to the epic climbs of the Tour de France, NTT is changing the game. By delivering deeper data insights, trailblazing digital experiences, and technological innovation, they're revolutionizing the fan experience. The future of sport will be shaped by technology, and NTT is leading the way. Come along for the ride. To learn more, visit services.global.ntt.
Hi, you're listening to the Real Work Stories podcast, and I'm your host, Benjamin. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you. And if you tuned in before, welcome back. Now, this is the podcast where I talk about all things customer service, from the customer to the corporation and everything in between. But before I get started, I got to say thank you to everyone for all your support for the podcast. Thank you for all the likes, shares, comments, downloads. I appreciate it. I only say it every episode because I mean it every episode. And if you don't already follow me on Facebook and Instagram, make sure you do so at Real Work Stories Podcast. That's where you're going to find out about topics, episode snippets, discussions, and more. And today, I was sitting here thinking about what I was going to talk about today. And I decided that today would be a good day for me to talk about the time I had this one customer who had a bill for some international charges, and she wanted me to credit it because it cost her bill to be over $16,000. Yeah, you heard me right. Just let me explain. It won't make sense if I don't explain it, so just give me a second. Let me explain this, okay? So what happened was, when I was working for this company, and this was a long time ago, many moons ago, working for the same crazy cell phone company I keep talking about that shall remain nameless. But I get into this rather interesting, intense conversation with this customer who decided that no one and nothing was going to stop her from using her phone. Now, it's yours. You bought it. You deserve to pay for it. Do you? I ain't judging you. Yeah, it's yours. You can do what you want to do with it. I don't care. So what had happened was she took a trip to some international destination. If I want to say it might have been Morocco, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. And just not using her phone while she was there was just not an option. She was like, no, I'm going to use this phone. Okay, cool. That's your prerogative. My prerogative. Do what you want to do. I ain't judging. So what was crazy is that at this time with this particular company, whatever country she was in, like I said, I think it was Morocco. So we're just going to go with that for the rest of this story. They didn't have a plan for that. So here's what I mean. At the time, most cell phone companies, or this particular cell phone company, if you went anywhere outside of the United States, you had to get this special plan, right? And what that would do is that would cut down the amount of money that you pay per minute for your phone calls. So let's just say, for example, let's say you went to Canada, right? Without this special plan, making phone calls in Canada, it's like $5 a minute. But if you put this special plan on your account, it's like 15 cents a minute. And the plan was only like $5.99. So you pay $5.99 for the whole plan. You still get unlimited talk, talk as much as you want to. Now, they had the separate thing for data, separate thing for text messages. That's another story. We'll talk about that maybe at another time. I don't know. Maybe. But it's the same idea. You pay a certain amount for a certain amount of data, yada, yada, yada. And she decided, well, not she decided, but this company didn't have one of those for this particular country. All right. So what that means is when you go over there and you use your phone to call and text people and be on the internet. You gonna pay out the hoopla and the hoorah to do this, okay? All right, just keep that in the back of your mind. So, anyway, with that being said, she was like, I don't care. Again, I'm just going to use my phone. Okay, cool. Now, this company was kind of cool. I said kind of, just go with me. So what they did was they called her not once, not twice, but on 3 different occasions, on 3 different days. And they were like, hey, I don't know. Let's call her Tiffany. Let's just call her Tiffany. Okay. They were like, hey, it's Tiffany. Yeah, you're using your phone in Morocco. That's gonna get real expensive real quick. We please don't do this. We don't have a plan to cover it. If you keep doing this, you're looking at, X amount of dollars per minute, X amount of money per text message, X amount of money for, gigabytes of data that you're using and stuff like that. You might want to slow down a little bit. You already at like $300. And that was the first time they called her. She was like, why are y'all calling me? Like, why are you calling me to tell me this? They were like, hey, look, we're just letting you know that you're using this at, X dollars per minute, X dollars per text message, X money per, gigabyte of data you use, yada, yada, yada. She was like, I don't care. That doesn't matter. Again, why are you calling me? All right, cool. We just got to let you know. So when you get your bill and it's a lot higher than your normal bill is, this is why. Now, also, when you try to call in to talk about your bill, they're going to tell you this is why, and they're not going to waive, any of these crazy usage charges because we calling you and we telling you. She was like, okay, fine. I'm going to keep using my phone. I ain't going to stop using it. Okay. She did that the first time they called, the second time, and the third time they called. So now it's documented. You know what I'm saying? They done put the little notes in her account. Like, hey, we called her. We told her when she was at this many dollars. We called her and told her when she was at this many dollars. We called her and told her when she was at this many dollars. She kept using the phone. We told her to stop. She didn't want to stop. Cool beans. That's on you. So now, mind you, at this point, I don't even know that Tiffany exists because this is all happening before the phone call even gets to me, right? Okay. So I'm at work one day, chilling, minding my business. At the time, I was a supervisor, had a little bit of, credentials behind my name. I answered the phone. Hey, I am the supervisor. I'm the manager. I'm the one you talk to. You know what I'm saying? So one of my agents comes to me one day and they're like, hey, man, I got this escalated call. This lady told me her name is Tiffany. She won't tell me nothing else. She said she want to talk to a manager. I'm like, cool. Transfer her. Put her on my line. So they transfer the call down to my desk. I'm like, hey, my name's Benjamin. I'm the manager. How can I help? So she tells me, and she's making this story sound all hysterical and just a little bit of background. At the time in my life, at this point, I was kind of known as like a no nonsense type of supervisor, meaning like your sob story don't matter to me. I don't care how much you whine and cry and stuff. That's not going. You crying is not going to change my decision. That's just how straightforward I was. I was a real jerk back in the day. Don't judge me. Okay, so listening to her tell me, my bill is crazy high. I don't know what's going on. So now I'm like, oh snap. Okay, sounds like we might have a real situation going on. Let's take a look at your account, Tiffany. Let's see what's going on. So I get her information, and I pull up her account, and I'm like, while I'm waiting for the system to load up, I'm just thinking, I'm like, all right, cool. So here's what I'm gonna do. 'Cause you told me a lot in a little bit of time. I said, let me put you on a brief hold and eat some chips. Research your account real quick so I can figure this out. Now, don't judge me. I had some honey barbecue chips at my desk that day. I was going to enjoy those while I read her account. Cool. So she was like, okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead. Take your time. Look it up. Yada, yada, yada. So I put her on hold. open this bag of chips, and I look up at the screen and I read the balance and I choke.
We all have that friend who wakes up early to go get everyone McDonald's breakfast, while the rest of us sleep in. This is your sign to thank them. And if you're that friend, this is us saying thank you.
Now get a sausage McMuffin, sausage biscuit, sausage burrito, or hash browns. Choose 2 for $2.50. Enjoy a large iced coffee for just $2. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
From the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to the epic climbs of the Tour de France, NTT is changing the game. By delivering deeper data insights, trailblazing digital experiences, and technological innovation, they're revolutionizing the fan experience. The future of sport will be shaped by technology, and NTT is leading the way. Come along for the ride. To learn more, visit services.global.ntt.
Wait, hold up. This can't be right. I must have typed in the wrong phone number or something. So I look at the phone number on my caller ID. I'm like, no, that's the same phone number she gave me. Look at her name again. I'm like, Tiffany? Yeah, this is the same person. Okay, yeah, this is everything she said. But why is her bill $18,000? Now, mind you, I ain't looked at nothing yet. All I see is, the balance first. That's the first thing they used to show us. Here's how much this person owes you. So I'm like, what in the world happened? So I look at the bill, and sure enough, I'm like, dang, bro, using her phone in Morocco, man, paying literally out the hoo-wah for minutes, messages, data, the whole 9. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. So I'm like, bruh, did nobody call her? Because at this point, like I said, I knew that the company made phone calls to people, like when they had like real high usage and stuff like that. I knew they would call people because that's just a part of what they did. They were like, hey, you are on the verge of something astronomical and you need to stop. And depending on, how the conversation went, they might work something out at that moment in time, or you wait till the bill come out and try to work something out then, whatever the case may be. So again, I look up and I see this balance, 18,018,000. And like, I've never seen a balance that high. For just one person, for just 1 month. Like, sometimes I still can't believe it. Like, this bill was literally more than double what my first car cost me, which I was actually still driving at the time. Yeah, her bill for 1 month cost me more than my entire car, more than double my entire first car. That's crazy. All right. So mind you, I'm still thinking in my mind, like, yo, why? Like, ain't nobody call her to tell her about this bill? So I'm looking through stuff, I'm reading, researching, still eating chips at the same time. And I look up and I realize, oh, she's got 3 alerts. Like, they called her 3 times. Not only did they call her 3 times, I am not the first supervisor she's talked to about this bill on this particular day. I think I might have been like the 5th or the 6th person. So I'm like, you've been just hanging up, calling back, hanging up, calling back, hanging up, calling back, just trying to get somebody to waive this bill. I'm like, oh, okay. I see what kind of game you playing. Cool. So now ruthless mode turns on, because this ain't like you played it out to me in the beginning of this conversation. You were like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on. I need some help. Can you see what's going on? No. I can't help you with none of this, shouting. That's what I wanted to tell her. Like, all of my professionalism almost went out the window. Bruh, get off my phone. No, it's a game. To you. This ain't a game to me. We called you. We told you about this. And they commented what you said, and you told them you didn't care what the bill was going to be. You was going to keep using your phone. Cool. So you accept all of this stuff. Like, just straight up. You did this. So I'm trying to formulate my words in my mind before I take her off hold, So I took a deep breath, finished the last bit of those chips, because yes, I ate the whole bag. Yeah, I ate the whole bag. Now, don't get crazy. This wasn't one of those family-sized bags of chips. It's like one of them little personal bags you get out the vending machine or something. You know what I'm saying? It didn't take me that long to finish that off. Chill. Stop thinking I'm a fat kid, even though I am. But that's not the point of this story. Anyway, so I take her off hold, and I'm like, hey, look. Here's the deal, Tiffany. I ain't the first person you talk to about this. Everybody else told you no. The answer is still no. You done talked to corporate about this. They told you what was up. You basically told them to kick rocks with no shoes on and go play in traffic blindfolded. That's what you said in so many words. So the answer is no. We're not waiving this bill. We're not taking none of these charges off. None of that. Like you chose violence that day. That's what you chose. To keep using your phone after you were advised not to. Now, you can argue with me later about, well, she should have been able to use the phone. I'm not saying she shouldn't have been able to use it. I'm just saying if you're going to use it and we told you weren't covered and how much you were going to pay, just be prepared to pay that because somebody already told you what it was going to be. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Argue with your mama later on, okay? Argue with your manager. Pick one. I don't really care which one. Just don't argue with me about it. So long story short, I told her, like I said, I'm not waiving none of this bill. Nobody is going to waive this bill. So she hollers, she screams. I think she curses me out a little bit. Before I can even respond to her, she hangs up the phone. I'm like, oh, cool. You made my job a million times easier. But that's not the kicker. The kicker to me was a couple weeks later at work, one of the trainers at the job has, training class, teaching new people the ropes, hey, welcome to the company. This is how we do things. Here's the rule book. Here's some scenarios you might encounter. And me and this person were really cool friends. Let's call him Chris. All right. So Chris is like, hey, Benjamin, you mind come sitting in on one of my classes with me for a couple hours? I was like, yeah, sure. I ain't got nothing to do. Come sit in there with you. So I sit in and, this gives the class a chance to ask questions of someone who, is actually on the front lines. You know what I'm saying? They get that experience from somebody who already does this on a day-to-day basis. It's different than when you reading stuff, on a computer screen. Oh, well, if the customer says this, you should respond with A. No, this is how I actually respond to people. Just being straight up and honest. So anyway, I'm sitting in the class and he's talking about the fact that sometimes, customers do things that are stupid, for a lack of a better phrase. And as I'm sitting here listening to him talk about this customer, I'm kind of like daydreaming a little bit. So I wasn't fully invested in what he was saying because I was really just waiting for somebody to ask me a question about something, which they really weren't. But I realized that the customer he's talking about sounds very familiar. And as he's talking, he's like, so Benjamin, do you recognize anything about this customer that I'm talking about? And I'm like, yeah, I remember talking to somebody that had a really high bill for, international stuff. And he was like, do you remember how much the bill was? Because the whole time while he's sort of giving his class, little details about it, he didn't tell them how much the bill was because he wanted me to surprise them with that. And I was like, yeah, man, that bill was like $18,000 some change, a little over $18,000 or whatever. And they were like, you're joking. So he finds the account, he pulls it up, he lets everybody take a look at it in the classroom. Because again, if you listen to anything when you call customer service, all of these calls may be recorded and monitored for training purposes, So trust and believe, if you ever decided to go off on somebody in customer service, somebody's training class heard it, okay? I guarantee you they heard it. So they're looking at it on the screen, and I'm looking at the balance because I'm realizing that this phone call, like I said, is only a couple weeks old. So I'm like, did she ever pay the bill? So we look up the account, and sure enough, she paid it. Like 7 minutes after I got off the phone with her. What was the purpose in you hooping and hollering for all of that time when you was just gonna pay the bill anyway? What did you really think was gonna happen from that, Tiffany? I hope Tiffany is listening to this, because I would love to know, what did you really think you were gonna accomplish? I'm curious to know. But yeah, that's the story of the highest bill I've ever seen a customer have, and the highest bill I've ever seen a customer pay. At least on a personal account. We might talk about business accounts another day. But with that being said, I'm clocking out. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Real Work Stories podcast. Peace.
We all have that friend who wakes up early to go get everyone McDonald's breakfast while the rest of us sleep in. This is your sign to thank them. And if you're that friend, this is us saying thank you.
Now get a sausage McMuffin, sausage biscuit, sausage burrito, or hash browns. Choose 2 for $2.50. Enjoy a large iced coffee for just $2. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
From the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to the epic climbs of the Tour de France, NTT is changing the game. By delivering deeper data insights, trailblazing digital experiences, and technological innovation, they're revolutionizing the fan experience. The future of sport will be shaped by technology, and NTT is leading the way. Come along for the ride. To learn more, visit services.global.ntt.